What's up, board game people? Let's get caught up on all this news. I have a few videos worth, so I'm going to be putting these out as fast as I can and try to get caught up. If you don't see it here, it's likely coming in another video soon. We've had some big news from just about every corner of the hobby, so hold on tight. Before we start, I want to say a special thank you to all the members of my Patreon page who are helping to support the channel. You all are amazing, and I couldn't ask for a better group of people to have my back. Thank you so much. Crowdfunding is crowded this week, no pun intended, so I'm going to lightly touch on what's live right now. On Kickstarter, we have the Thinning Veil relaunch sitting at just over the halfway mark and several weeks to go. Dungeon Saga Origins looks very interesting, and I need to look into it some more. On Gamefound, live we have the Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era, which seems to be a smash hit, Gatefall Monsters, a quick and simple expansion for the Gatefall universe, and Hexplore, Fall of the Ancients, expansion to Volume 2 and reprint of most other volumes. Coming to Kickstarter this week, the next big campaign from CMON launched on Tuesday, Zombicide White Death. It looks to be a twist, but more of a third edition or reimagining of the Black and Green Death flavors of Zombicide, which in my experience is some of the best that game has to offer. And now on to the news. The Pledge Manager for Warcrow Adventures launched this week and will run through June 6th. It's your chance to add to or finish off your pledge, or if you're late to the party, you can late back now. The main pledge levels on offer are the Core Pledge, the Platinum Pledge, and a heavily discounted All-In Pledge. They're offering the Thunderous Gust expansion based around Infinity Match's Steindrag and the Full Metal Collector's Pack with the core heroes and one enemy miniature in metal. These two add-ons are not included in the All-In Pledge. A huge update is in for Dungeon Crusade. The first production copies of the game are headed to Grooves Games headquarters, and we should be getting a deluxe unboxing video from Roger in the next few weeks. After they finish reviewing this copy of the game, if everything is in order, mass production will officially be a go, and fulfillment will follow shortly. We're still looking at May to June for fulfillment with hopeful eyes. But once the fulfillment phase officially begins, solid dates will be provided. The Pledge Manager is still open for a very limited time. If you want in on this awesome adventure, make sure you late pledge now. The next Dungeon Crusade Kickstarter has been announced, and it will be aiming to deliver quality retro-inspired miniatures in a giant Dungeon Crusade box with a plastic insert for the game. Roger shared a few miniatures, not Dungeon Crusade miniatures, from the sculptor he plans to work with. The miniatures and style are fantastic and would look right at home in the dungeon. It's going to be exciting to see what they come up with next. Oh, and the retro comic book cover can't be missed. We need more of these, and in poster size. A great little Mythwind update is out, and OOMM Games certainly puts their money where their mouth is. To date, they contributed to 5,035 trees being planted across Canada via their donations to Tree Canada. It's great to see a company owning up to and helping to mitigate the environmental impacts of our hobby. The timeline for Mythwind delivery remains unchanged, with delivery starting sometime in July and wrapping in August. The molds for the plastic trays and inserts are complete, and they've begun production, and they give us a peek at exactly how they all come together into an efficient and functional storage solution. They leave us with a little note on how players' journeys in Mythwind will impact the overall story through the use of event cards. The picture is all of the event cards from the core and the expansion laid out. There's going to be a lot going on. The last March update for Dawn of Madness is showing good progress and a shot of some of the components. As is probably obvious, they will not make the Q1 estimate for shipping, but they plan to finish the core in Q2 and ship in Q3. The focus of the month has been on writing for Linus's stories, editing Claude's storybook, and the layout for Catherine's components. The art for Catherine is 99% complete and should be done very shortly. The layouts for components are 90% done. Claude's book is in final editing and the writing is complete. His art is 70% complete as well. Linus's encounter writing is currently at 80% complete and his art at 20% complete. Finally, translations are well underway for Emily and Catherine's stories. There's a reprint and expansion in the future for League of Dungeoneers, but first the focus remains on getting backers their games. Lots of buzz has been happening around League of Dungeoneers as it makes its way to backers' doorsteps, and they've been kind enough to add some weight to those rumors. But as I said, first, where is the first print? There were some speed bumps along the way, but the games are heading out the door, region by region. US and Canada-bound games are passing through customs now. For the UK, games are on the high seas. For the EU, the route was replanned to remove financial risk, so there's a bit more paperwork left to be done. After these, smaller hubs will be sent out all around the same time. This was a disappointing slowdown on all sides, but out of Michael's hands. Now, yes, a second printing is going to be a reality, and this time the campaign will be run on Gamefound. The second print run will include the original material, some new backer-created quests and companions, an update package for returning backers, and the long-rumored False Prophet expansion. Why so quick with all of this? Well, running things in parallel allows the wheels to spin much faster. With production and delivery of the first printing out of his hands, now's a great time to spin up a second printing. Hopefully this way we all have our packages and get a chance to play the game before having to back for any expansions. Oh, and they've revealed a few new shiny boxes for the core and the expansion. Skyrise was on display and in action at PAX East this last month. Nearly a quarter of the buildings are fully approved for production, and more wax samples have arrived for our viewing pleasure. Atmosfear games for North America are well underway. Shipping on Australia is complete. In the UK and Europe, they're starting to ship now, and the rest of the world is in transit or already delivered. Sadly, the news of the deliveries is tarnished by an update put out about the keys, suggesting that backers recreate the keys on some cardstock to make them thicker. It was snarky, and I know it was meant to be fun, but it comes across as cheap, unprofessional, and inexcusable. This was supposed to be the deluxe edition of a very beloved classic game. Sadly, while everything else is looking quite nice, this cheapens the entire project and the experience. For the money spent, this really should be recidified. Kick the tires and light the fires. Everything's off to print for the Unsettled reprint and expansions project. The amazing community has been key in the testing and retesting of the game, and they couldn't be happier with the results. They're proofing the digital mockups and completing initial prints to check that everything is perfect before beginning mass production. They want to keep the pledge manager open as long as possible, but they need everyone to finalize their pledges to do so. There can't be too many pledges hanging out there, or they'll have to close everything down. They've shown us some of the reusable envelopes for the project and some of the mock-ups for the new Planet Box packs. The story of the Queen's Dilemma is quickly taking shape, and many branching paths are converging on what we'll see on our tabletops. The art is proceeding as well, and this update is showing off some of the excellent work being done in that department. The art here should really help to bring the story to life. On the digital side of the coin, the King's Dilemma Chronicles is here and available on Steam. Check it out now. Printing continues for the Gambler's Chest expansion of Kingdom Death Monster. Not much to share there, but it seems the prices of shipping containers have sunk from $30,000 to just $1,300. It's funny how the times change. This update shows off a bit more of the Squire's campaign for the Black Knight and the Frog Dog expansions. These should be finished up and in the proofing process by the end of April. Engineering of the Showdown board continues, with the first batch being sent to their tooling partner this week. The art team is busy creating masterpieces for the Campaigns of Death, and we're left with a peek at an amazing miniature from the Silver City expansion. Wave 2 fulfillment for Final Girls Series 2 is still underway, but should be wrapped up by the end of the week. In Asia, delivery windows are from now until the end of April. The US and the rest of the world shipment should be out by the end of the week. For Canada, they had less than 100 orders to ship at last count. In the UK, the final 3% of shipments are underway. In the EU, shipping is complete. The Series 2 Gruesome Deaths book has been delayed until this week, but should be available soon. All the zombies have been brain-tased, stuffed into boxes, placed on ships, and will be extra hungry once they arrive to escape to Stalingrad Z-backers. Australia and New Zealand should see their copies begin shipping in April, with the rest of the world starting in May. It's been a long road, but it's almost done. This month's Okko Chronicles Cycle of the Earth update focuses on the Legends of Pajan 2 expansion that adds in a persistent advancement system for the game. As the protagonists win scenarios, they gain experience cards, improving their speed, attack, defense, and other attributes, while also giving them a chance to perform additional actions and abilities. Worry not though, the Black Tiger and the Yuki Onna also get experience cards if they win. Theirs grant them important powers that allow them to copy the powers of their enemies. The balance of all this is when an experience card is gained, so is a new weakness card. In Etherfields Language Wave 2 news, the EU hub has sent out over 98% of parcels, and they should be done shipping by the end of the week. In Canada, they've had 96% shipped out. This project is quickly coming to a close, finally. Creative Diary 3 for the Werewolf Apocalypse Retaliation has been released. We got a look at some of the newest works from the art department. They've opted for rectangular tiles, which have made game setup easier and faster, and they've completely reworked the core game's miniatures, increasing the quality and the detail of the sculpts. 5 of the core scenarios are completed so far. Many of the game mechanics have received reworks, and a final rulebook should be available for inspection in the next month or two. This update starts a new progress roadmap showing how work is progressing across the game. The latest update from Ludus Magnus Studios for the Black Rose War Rebirth campaign focuses on the Silk Road expansion. With this box, we head far east to the Orient and all of the fascinating magics that have been discovered there. The miniatures and mages in this set are incredibly unique and will add a whole new level of spice to the game. The rulebooks for the core game and Apocalypse expansion are now available on their web app if you're interested. Next week, they'll publish the remaining books as well. They've begun receiving digital samples and they're completing final checks now before printing begins. It looks like we can expect delivery sometime this summer. Work on the Crag Pit and Crawl have continued through March in the Dark Venture campaign. The question answered this update is why a cassette tape? The answers are the fond memories of mixing tapes and creating elaborate fold-out tape covers. All of this leads us to the layer of the Rake the Void and the initial prototype being shown in the update. By all means, this is going to make some 70s and 80s kids real happy or have really bad nightmares. The add-on is unique, fun, and different from anything you typically encounter in a campaign like this. The pledge manager for Deep Madness is likely to be closing in April or May. Make sure you get on it. Several of the molds for the reprinted material will need to be revised as they have not weathered well, and this will cause some slight delays moving forward. Proofing is ongoing for all the reprint material now. For the Madness Reborn content, tooling is underway for the miniature molds. Game testing is complete, and scenario rules and background writing is soon to be started. Dia Games made a point to check in during the latest update for the Euthia Resurrected project. They've been busy behind the scenes, but it's nice to hear they're still with us and doing well. This update, they show off more of the monster card pack and the new art created for it. These monsters are much more powerful versions of the originals and will be giving us hell while trying to complete quests involving them. I look forward to seeing the final versions of some of these on the table. The pledge manager for SAS Rogue Regiment will be closing on April the 7th. Make sure you get your pledges completed now. 15 out of the 26 missions have completed playtesting, and the They Who Dare boards, rules, and tokens are going through the layout process. This update shows off the SAS dice mold template. White boxes have been created to check the sizes for Marvel Zombies Wave 2. And for those of you getting these, it's going to be quite a hefty pile of boxes in your future. They're still waiting on more information from the factory before providing delivery estimates. Meanwhile, the shipping for Galactus continues. Many in Asia already have their packages. There's not much more word on when others can expect theirs, but they showed off some more shots from the factory to tide you over. Well, that's going to be a wrap for the news today. You may have noticed I haven't been reporting on Gamefound projects in the last few videos. This is all in an effort to get caught up, and we will have Gamefound news in the next video for sure. There are a few more videos worth of news coming your way before we're totally caught up, and I also have the upcoming campaigns video for April, which is up next. Please consider subscribing to help our little channel grow and so you don't miss anything. Thank you to everyone watching and commenting. If you'd like to support the channel and have a few dollars laying around, check out our Patreon page linked in the video description. Every dollar helps us get some new equipment and new opportunities for the channel. I hope everyone has a great week and we'll talk very soon.